class. My name is Nicole, and this is speech number 3, our informative speech. I will be talking about the painting Ophelia by Sir John Everett Millais. And I'm actually going to start talking about Millais before we start getting into Ophelia. That way you kind of get a sense of who the artist was for this magnificent painting. So Sir John Everett Millais was a pre-Raphaelite member. It was basically a brotherhood that called themselves the Pre-Raphaelites, who decided to move away from your typical Victorian beautiful painting style to a more realistic, more raw way of painting, and the way things were being written on the Bible or plays such as Hamlet. Millais actually started out really young. He was considered a prodigy, and that got him into the Royal Academy in London. His parents were very affluent, and his mother was the one who actually pushed him to pursue this artistic career because she saw potential in him. So at age 11, he goes to London and gets accepted into Royal Academy. Instantly becomes extremely famous. His paintings start to gain traction with people and popularity. And then that's when he met the Brotherhood, is that where he created the Brotherhood, and they call themselves the Pre-Raphaelites. He painted Ophelia based on based on Shakespeare's play Hamlet. So that's where he took inspiration from creating Ophelia. And very interestingly, Ophelia was painted in 2 parts. The first part was painted during the summer. Millais actually went to an area that was very similar to the one in the play. It was like a creek surrounded by wildflowers. Basically, very much in a natural spot where, it's just nature and Millais painting away at Ophelia, and he's painting the background. That's what he wanted first. He's painting the background and making sure he's gotten all the wild flowers in the painting right, because in Hamlet, the specificity of the flowers each represent a different thing in the play and a meaning and the location where they're placed. So that's what Millais was trying to do, and he actually joked about how he was suffering in the summer months painting this background because the mosquitoes would not leave him alone. And it was very detailed, and that he might get arrested for trespassing into somebody else's property. In the winter months, he painted basically the model for Ophelia, which was Elizabeth Siddal, and she actually later turned out to be a model for many of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood members. But she became Millais' model to be Ophelia. And the way they did this is super interesting back then. They didn't have like electric heaters, so they filled up a bathtub, and the way they kept the bathtub warm was with oil lamps underneath. So Millais constantly kept the oil lamps heated, and he bought this gorgeous dress that was super heavy. It was vintage for the time, which was like 1830s, 20s, I believe. This beautiful, gorgeous vintage dress for Miss Siddal to wear. And one night he actually forgot to heat up or keep heating up the oil lamps, and Siddal posed in freezing water for couple hours, and she eventually got sick, and her father did threaten Millais to sue him if he didn't pay up for the medical bills, which he did. But he wanted to get Ophelia in the position that embraced her death coming upon her with her palms up and almost like a peace slash blank stare in her eyes, with the background already painted. This was easy because Millais was just basically painting the person that would go into this painting. um, and it's beautiful. If you don't know the story of Ophelia, she goes upset or really mad, really upset and mad after Hamlet, who was the love of her life, accidentally killed her father, which led her to walk into this field of flowers and collect flowers, and she actually eventually let herself fall into this creek. And you can see it in the painting that the dress is weighing her down because it's so heavy. So the lower half is already almost covered by water, and then all you can see is the upper half of her face and her palms facing up, like I said earlier, accepting her fate. Um, and it's a beautiful work of art. It's currently at the Tate, London. Um, and if you get a chance to look it up, I would. It's a beautiful painting, and Millais did paint a couple more if you are interested in seeing his work. But Ophelia, I think, is one of my favorites because of the detail that goes into it. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my video.